Kids, anybody else is watching? Yeah, we got a little slob here. One more cookie for you. That's it. Yeah, right. We'll see how that works out. Hey guys, I've been gone for a couple days because this guy right here, my little Skippy hasn't been feeling very well. He hasn't eaten for like 3 or 4 days. I'm kind of concerned, but sometimes dogs go through situations where they do a little fast, like human beings should do also. If you're feeling under the weather and feeling sick and you feel something has come upon you, do a 3-day fast, drink a lot of water. And that was my concern about this dog. Skippy. He wasn't eating, but he was drinking water, so he was being hydrated. You have to stay hydrated. When you stop drinking water and you're not hydrated, it becomes very negative. So he has, well, actually for 3 days he was throwing up the water. It lasted a little longer, but now he's drinking water and it's staying in him. So that's a good sign. And I'm diagnosing him myself. I have to. It's just one of the things I have to do. I've diagnosed myself, and I've had pretty positive things with my dogs. Not very positive with the birds that I've tried to save, but the dogs have all come through. So I'm going to try it again with Skippy. Little Skippy. By the way, since he was so, he was matted, and I wasn't able to trim him. But since he's in this condition, I was able to trim him up. So there's pros and cons to everything when you, when you get sick, I guess. So today, the thumbnail is going to be, my grandparents were prejudiced, all right? I didn't want to say both my grandparents, the males. My grandparents that were mom's side and dad's side. Dad's side was Sicilian, which is understandable probably. When I was in 3rd grade and the nun started screaming stuff at me, which I'll go into in a minute. But my other side, which is more of the, I guess it was more of the European, English, French, and Norwegian, which kind of makes sense. He was a Norseman. He's a Viking, my other grandfather. So both my grandfathers, both of them, were prejudiced. But the prejudice, what I'm trying to get across to you kids, anybody that's watching, there's very subtle ways of prejudice. There's blurting out prejudice that you hate somebody because of their color. Then there's a significant undertone of prejudice. And that would be the other side. That was an undertone that I received at I guess I was about, God almighty, what year was that? It would have been during my first 5th grade. I went to 2. Went to 4 4th grades, 2 5th grades, the whole class. We went to 6 different schools. I went to 20 schools, I graduated. I'm just saying, I remember things by God's grace, and that's what I remember. Prejudice is negative. Prejudice is negative. And there's people that say they're not prejudiced. Oh no, they're not prejudiced. In fact, you say, hey, you're prejudiced. Oh, I'm not prejudiced. And how you know this is when they say, I'm not. By the way, there's only five colors right now on this planet that we're aware of. Now there's some more, but they haven't really come out into the open. They used to, thousands of years ago, we had blue and we had green. So that's what I'm saying. When people say, I'm not prejudiced, well, first of all, 5 colors, all we got to see right now. Black, white, yellow, brown, and red. 5 colors. Now, people say, I'm not prejudiced. I'm not prejudiced against black, white, blue, green. And it comes out subconsciously out of them that's going to be blue or green, or blue or green. I don't care. So that's what I'm saying. These are people that are saying they're not prejudiced. And maybe that's why we don't see blue and green people around anymore. Maybe somebody's prejudiced against them, as I said before. It's possible. Maybe not. I got to cheat here, and I think I got my glasses somewhere, but I got these. Hey, Fuji. Freestyle. Quick verse right now. Damien. Hey, Damien. Hey, guys. Welcome. Welcome aboard. This is a live Uncle Martin. I'm going to do a thumbnail on Prejudice. Both my grandparents were prejudiced. I'm not proud of this. In fact, I'm very disappointed. But they were brought up being prejudiced, and that's my point. You are all not born prejudiced. You are not born prejudiced. You are born with a clean slate, and you don't know the difference between when you're being born, whether you have a white, black, yellow, brown, or red doctor pulling you out of mom. All right? Not until later on when you get subjected to prejudice. You're taught prejudice. As I said before in my, what was that one? It was Prejudice and the Rope. I did that way back when on my lives. Check that out. I was in first grade. I learned about prejudice. Sister made me St. Martin. He was black. I promise I will have something on St. Martin. He was a fantastic saint. I'm sorry, I'm rambling here. You can Google them. They're famous. Yes, I know. I was taught that we are all equally worthless. Equally worthless? That's ridiculous. You were taught a limitation. We are not limited. I know. I was even brought up with original sin. You know, we're all damned in original sin. Oh man, that's very depressing. I never agreed with that in my first grade, and I don't agree with it now. I believe that the only two sins that we have on this planet right now, two. One is the separation from God. I don't care if you believe in God or not, but that separation is going to be a key point. The second rule is that you never hurt an individual. You never hurt them as far as even hurting their feelings. These are two sins. If we can get by that, we can progress spiritually. I'll go into that to another time, all right? Hey, gaming official, no limitations. Absolutely. That's what they called me on the Spiritual Indian Hot Springs. They called me Uncle Martin. Here comes no limitations. Here comes no limitations. This is at the India Spiritual Hot Springs. It was in. They didn't like nudist commune. Actually, at the springs, there was a big sign saying clothes are. The clothes are. I don't know. It's up to you. But on Sunday, you had to wear clothes because people came in from society. Although they took their clothes off too. I'm just saying, we should wear clothes. We're born with no clothes. And even when we leave, they suit us up in clothes. But after cremation or whatever, you don't have any clothes anyway. We come in and we leave alone. And it's what we do in between that makes all the difference. If you could spread love, light, and understanding to people, never leave a person unhappy. These are positive things that we might want to look into someday. Okay, gaming official, no limitations. I like that. No limitations. They called me that. I can't go there right now, but I got a cute little story on that someday. Okay, I'm going to do it now anyway. I know this is on Prejudice, but no limitations. Gaming official 9090, you got me. I'm around the corner, and these two kids from the Spiritual Indian Hot Springs, they come up and they're reading a magazine. It was I think it was Playboy, and they're googling and ogling over these pictures on Playboy. Now we're at a news commune. Technically, they didn't say commune; they said society. I don't know. It was back in the 70s. People do things. a little different than now. Probably not. They just do it more disguised, I guess. So these two kids, they're about 10, 11 years old of experience. And they're looking over and Googling the fold out. And they're, yeah. And around the corner, they now see me. And they say, it's no limitations. And that's what they said. So finally, when they came up to me, they hid the book behind them. Excuse me. I said, boys, what are you doing? You're looking at a piece of paper. You're looking at a piece of paper here. You're Googling and you're getting tingly feelings over this piece of paper. You look around you right now. There's the most beautiful women from all over the world. They're all naked. They don't have any clothes on. But yet you're looking at a piece of paper and you're getting all excited. All these tingly feelings you're getting on this paper. Look around you. But they were looking around them. They grew up in this environment. These kids since they were children, grew up in this environment. And something about looking at naked women wasn't anything new. But it was looking at this piece of paper, this fold out from Playboy, that they're getting all excited about. I don't know, I found that very fascinating that we all look at things differently, don't we? We really don't realize, I guess it's like when you put a Band-Aid on and everybody wants to know what's underneath the Band-Aid, especially nurses and doctors. But then there's people that put Band-Aids on that when you don't even have a boo-boo. That was my brother. That was my brother, Dave. He put on a bit. I'll find the picture. I'm on monkey bars. And bro is like below me and mom's taking the picture. And I'm on monkey bars smiling and bro has this arm out like this and he has a Band-Aid on it. And the whole premise of that was when mom came home with Band-Aids, bro went over, opened up the box, put a Band-Aid on his arm. And I said, that is very negative. I said, Mom, he can't do that. Band-Aids are special. It's only for boo-boos. And bro put it on with no boo-boo. I think he was the first one because if you look at all these rock stars and everything, they're walking around with Band-Aids on. They don't have any boo-boos. So bro in 1959 had them beat. Maybe they saw the picture or felt it. I don't know. So we have all these things that we put on ourselves. Clothing, Band-Aids, facades. When you look at someone, you think you know who they are, but it's only a facade. You really don't know who they are until you get to know them, because they can make themselves as great spiritual beings. They could make themselves as a lot of things to where you more than admire them, you put them up on a pedestal, which is very negative, because these people are human and they will fall. They will have flaws within themselves. And once that happens, if you haven't noticed in Hollywood and other places, once people are put on pedestals, they can't wait to rip you down. That's why fame is fleeting. Okay, I'm going to get on with the thumbnail here, which is my Prejudice. Well, I got a little history test for you too. I had to do it because when I was looking this stuff up, I wanted to see if the nun in 3rd grade was telling me the truth. Yeah, I guess she was. Because this is what she did. I'm going to take these off right now. It's not too bad. It's only like 77 degrees in Arizona right now. Really remarkable. We've calmed down a lot. Thank God. Up in the hundreds, you know. So now we got 77 degrees, about 5:15, maybe 5:20. I'm not quite sure. I started a little early, I think, today, because the sun's going down a lot faster. So we got this nun screaming at me, the Moors, the Moors, the Moors came, and she knew I was Italian. And she was saying, this is what I'm going to say. This is in 3rd grade, by the way, up in Flagstaff, Arizona. I was only 8 years of experience, and I'm listening to a nun screaming at me, pretty much right in my face, the Moors. Well, it was in my face because my desk was in front of her desk. So she was looking at me, maybe because I was the closest, maybe. Or maybe she knew I was Italian, but she was saying, the Moors! The Moors! And I'm thinking, who the heck are the Moors? And then the little Viking chick said, who are the Moors? And sister said, they're Muslims! Well, that's true. In third grade, the Moors were Muslims and still are, and they came out of North Africa. These flies are starting to bother me, and so are the mosquitoes, but I think I can get through this okay. So we got the Moors out of Muslim. The Moors are Muslim out of North Africa. Now, that was when they took, that's what she's saying. She's screaming at me, they took over Italy! Because she's still looking at me. I have a last Italian name. The Moors took over Italy! And I'm saying, okay, all right. And she says it was between 8 and 900 AD. And that's what got me going here. I'm thinking, was my nun in third grade telling me the truth? Well, just so happened she was pretty close doggone the truth. Because when I looked it up, I had to Google. Google still gives you some information. Not everything's true. You have discernment on what is true and what isn't. So what they gave me so far was, until they change it, is Sicily in 827, which would be 800 AD. So 827 AD, complete. The Moors took over Sicily and Italy, completed it by 902. So that's 200 years. The Moors had taken over, well, actually, they took over Spain, Portugal, and Italy. Just give me some bare facts here. Yeah, bet me on this, please. So it lasted 200 years, and not until the Norman conquest, the Vikings. Oh, the Vikings still keep coming in. Didn't I just do one on Christopher Columbus? Yes, I did. And they don't recognize Vikings for nothing, but they do on this one. The Vikings came in, and there was a conquest at the 11th century. So that's what happened. Palermo. Okay, well, going back a smidge, Palermo. It fell in 831 AD and became the capital of the new Muslim province. Now, the Norsemen Vikings, they had a siege and captured Palermo in 1072. So that's absolutely correct. For 200 years, the Muslims and Moors, well, the same guys, they had taken over Italy, Spain, and Portugal. This is all factual history. Now, the Norse Vikings, the siege, and when they captured Palermo in 1072, the Vikings, that's when a lot of things changed. It was because this guy named Robert Guiscard, he was pronounced Duke of Sicily, and this is by Pope Nicholas II. And who cares about Pope Nicholas II? I could care less about. Well, I'm Catholic and I was an altar boy, but yeah, as I'm looking into this, who cares? But when you look into it, Pope Nicholas, he only lasted 2 years. Now, why would that be? Well, was he in poor health, or was it maybe something he was doing? I guess that's the question we have to ask. What was he doing? And this is very pertinent. Now, Pope Nicholas II, what he did was in 1059, he took power away from the Empire of Rome. Yeah. No more buying church offices. Oh my, no more buying. Is that like soliciting or, things they're doing in our society now? I don't know, maybe. And then there was, he prohibited clerical marriage. Yep, that's what he did. No more marriage. So that started off a lot of things, because everybody prior to that was the popes, the bishops, the clergy. They were all getting married. They had women. These people had women. Then all of a sudden in 1059 they couldn't have women. Is that why since the 1100s there's been some discrepancies on the let's see, things like why children are being, well, I don't want to go there. It'd be too negative. Well, you look into it and you say maybe there, maybe, maybe there's reasons for this stuff. There was marriages prior to 1059 AD. You could get married. No longer could you do that. So, okay. I just got two more things here. This is all coming full circle, by the way. Why the church is the way it is, by the way, if you want to look into it or not. Um, so the popes, bishops, and priests, as of the 11th century, could no longer get married, and it was initiated in 1074. And who was that by? Well, you look up the name. It was the Pope. Good gracious, Pope who? Pope Gregory the Seventh. And he said if you if you didn't stop what you were doing, getting married, you'd be excommunicated. How many times have I heard that? Excommunicated. Actually, you were excommunicated in 1964, I believe, in the Catholic religion if you got divorced. Yeah, so if you don't, if you get married, you get excommunicated if you're a pope, bishop, or priest. And if you divorce yourself from a woman, then you get excommunicated if you're just a layman. Isn't that interesting? Well, they changed that law too, but I'm just saying back in the day. So it wasn't until 1917 that the Roman Catholic Church did a canon law that it is in now. It's a law. 1917. No no popes, bishops, or priests get married. Well, we already knew about that 11th century. Why is it now in law? The Roman canon law, 1917. I guess they got to catch up on things. Hey, BJ, hey, Uncle Martin. Hey, guys. Everybody's watching so far. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thumbs up or down, please. And if you're coming in late, don't worry about it. Check me out at 6 a.m. That's when I get really credit. Because I can have hundreds of people watching me, give me thumbs up or down, and I don't get nothing until 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. I'm still trying to work on that, you know. Okay, so this is the big stuff. This is the real big stuff on the popes, and then I'll get away from it and I'll go into prejudice. Both my grandfathers were prejudiced. I'm not proud of it, you know. You have to look at things in your family, man. Are they prejudiced or not? There's very subtle ways, and then there's not subtle ways. People are prejudiced. That's all. And they're in your family. I don't care who your family is. I don't care what color you are. If you're black, white, red, brown, yellow, or I'm not going to say blue and green. Black, white, yellow, red, or brown. Thank you. It's when you stop that and say blue and green, you are prejudiced. I've gone over that. So now we got, okay, it's between, now look, 1059 was a crucial point. Now this Pope, Pope Nicholas II, he didn't last more than 2 years. I'm not saying somebody took him out, but how did he last 2 years? Pope Alexander II lasted 12 years. Pope Gregory after that lasted 12 years. How did these guys last so much longer than, Pope Nicholas II? What did he do? I just told you what he did. He took away a lot of power from people. And the last thing I got to say is he took power away from the wrong person, I guess. I'm sorry. He removed, okay, it was, so Pope Nicholas II took over in 1059. But who did he take over from is the question. Well, I got something for you. He took over, okay, it was only 1058 to 1059. And the guy was removed. The Pope was removed. He was an anti-Pope. An anti-Pope? What the heck's an anti-Pope? Well, I don't know if we have one or not, but this guy was an anti-Pope. He was Benedict. Oh, Benedict. Was there a Benedict Arnold or something? Everybody named Benedict, man. I would change your name. Maybe not. Maybe. Benedict X. Now, he was very powerful. He was very powerful. He had a powerful Roman family. He had a lot of money. And they had a lot of political, they had maneuvered themselves to a lot of political strength. And so they put their Benedict X in power. Now, that's what, I'm trying to look at this again. Pope Nicholas II, he kicked him out. He kicked this guy out. He kicked him out. He stopped all these other things. He took power from. He took all the power from the Roman Empire. He put it back in the hands of the cardinals, which could be a positive or negative things. If you look at the cardinals right now, I'm just saying. Look at the Catholic Church, where they're going. What are they doing downstairs, down in the down in the catacombs and stuff. It doesn't sound very positive, especially what they're doing. Wearing red shoes and the kids and everything that's involved with kids and ooh baby, I can't go there. It's just too negative for me right now. So that's what I wanted to start with. Prejudice, both my grandfathers. I know I'm 25 minutes in, but I'm getting through this just to let you know that there's things that come up in life, why there's reasons behind it happens. There's no accidents, by the way. Everything is for a meaning. Now, the nun is screaming, the Moors in front of me. We find out the Moors are Muslim and they're black. Okay, now anyone that is European that has black skin or anything, they're Muslim or they're called Moors. I don't know why they're doing that. There's kind of a thing they seem to be doing. So I knew about Moors when I was in third grade, my first third grade, because I went to two, with the 4 fourth grades and 2 fifth grades. Can't get that across to you guys that I went to 20 schools, I did graduate. So I went to many schools, and I learned many things. And I had a great memory. By God's grace, I still do. So now we're away from my first third grade. We go live on a 5-acre chicken farm in Pluckerman, New Jersey with my grandfather for maybe another report card because I was going to Raritan, New Jersey, St. Joseph's, and then we finally moved into Raritan. It was too much of I guess it was like 10 or 12 miles back and forth or whatever. So we moved a couple blocks away from the school in my first 4th grade, and that's what I'm getting to now. Now, Grandpa's we're 3 stories up. There's like, I don't know, like 28 steps maybe. I'm guessing 3 stories, something like that. So he's up there, and he finally gets up there. He's knocking on the door. He can barely breathe. Guy was smoking since he was 9, and that would be another story. I did something on smoking once before. So he comes in the house, and he's always giving us a nickel. Nickel's a big. 1964 was a big deal. Nickels. Well, not nickels, but anything. A penny. A penny can get you 2 candies. So five pennies can get you 10 candies. So we play this game of putting a nickel under the rug. Had to close our eyes. We always looked. What the heck? We pretended we didn't know where it was. The 3rd time we always got it. It was just coincidence. So now we're playing this game, Trouble. The Trouble board game. You might know it or not. It's the bubble. You push the bubble. It has 1 die in it. It's 1 to 6. And you pop it until it gets 6. 6, then you come out of your house. And then you go around the board. And you get back in. And you win. Now, if anybody lands on you, you go back to your original home. And you got 4 of these little pegs that you got to do this with. So Grandpa kept getting landed on all the time. And that's where I screamed out, Lady Luck, yeah. And then that's when he corrected me and said that Lady Luck, you never say that again in front of me. It's going to be Lady Bona Fortuna. Bona Fortuna is good fortune. Fortune stays with you. And Lady Luck, he says, gives, and takes. So that's something to think about. Go to Vegas. You'll see how Lady Luck hits everybody. Gives you a little bit and takes. Do you ever get out of Vegas with any money? I got a story for you on that. I did. I spent 5 days there with my girlfriend. Another story on that one. Yeah. Prior to that, every time I went in there for 1 day, I left broke. So I changed my ways. I'll go into that someday. I promise. Vegas. It'll be Vegas. So I changed my mode. I just said, hey, Falcon. It's under... both my grandparents were prejudiced. I hate saying it, but they were. One was blatantly prejudiced, and the other one was very subjective, very low-key. And that's what I'm saying. That's how prejudice is. It doesn't always come out like, hey, if you're a black person, you're saying, hey, that guy's a cracker. Well, that's negative. And if you're a white person, you're saying, hey, that's why that's very negative too. If you're using the net, I'm not even using the N word. I'm just saying that's what my grandfather said. The one that we're playing trouble with, going around the board, playing that game. And well, different time periods, he see a black person go by. He says, "Go, there's a Melon Johnny." And I said, "Grandpa, Melon Johnny? That means eggplant. Why are you calling the guy an eggplant?" Because it's black. It's not funny, but Melon Johnny's well, it's purple too. But you know what? Purple is a royalty, and in Africa, they wore a lot of purple, which is royalty. Yeah, just something off there. So now we're playing the trouble game, and I guess he lost, whatever. And then we're playing the barrel monkeys, where you get the little monkeys out of the barrel. You got to do a little chain and then put them back in with that and falling. That's another game we played. Yeah, we had nothing. We were poor back in '64. We were poor in '64. We were poor all our life, basically, but not really. I mean, we had shoes on our feet and clothes on our back, but we're not escalating anywhere. That's why when they taught me to be rich, to have women, and you be happy. And I became to where I could buy anything I wanted, and then I got all the women. I had more than enough women who wasn't happy, so that's where I had to change my ways to look at things differently. So now Grandpa's saying somewhere between trouble and the monkeys, the monkey out of the barrel of monkeys, that was the name of it, and somewhere in between that game, he had, I don't know how the heck it came up, but he started the Moors. He started screaming the Moors. I said, Grandpa, what do you mean about the Moors? He says, the Moors! The Moors! And then it hit me, because that was the same energy that the nun was giving me on my first third grade. She was screaming, the Moors! The Moors! And I was right in front of her desk, and she's looking at me because maybe she knew my Italian last name. And I'm looking at like a flashback of like a year. Only a year goes by, and I'm hearing from my grandfather, the Moors. And I knew that the Moors were Muslim and they were black. So what I did was, I don't know if it was negative, but I like to play along with people. I like mind games, even back when I was 10 years of experience. So I said, Grandpa, and I had a long sleeve shirt on. And I took the long sleeve shirt with my other hand and I ripped it back. So pretend my arm is totally bare. I said, but Grandpa, that's how we get such a great tan. And I ripped my shirt back on my arm. And he flipped out. He flipped. This guy was like, he was only like, well, he lived to 86. So that would have been, I don't want to, dyslexia, I can't think about it. So he was mid-70s, and he's flipping out on me. He's ripping off his black belt. He's going to beat me to death with it. And I ran across the room and said, no, Grandpa, I'm only kidding. And then he put his black belt back on, and we didn't finish the games. And the games were over. No more games. So my grandfather was, on the Sicilian side, definitely against Moors, black people on that level. He was very apparent on it. He was very, very vocal on it. Some people, many of your families are vocal on this. Prejudice. Now, on the other side, okay, I'm sitting up there, 10, God, mine, I must have been in like maybe, see, that was 4th grade. So I was either in my 1st or 2nd, 5th grade. I was in Raritan, New Jersey, on the other side where I grew up from. Raritan's kind of big, but yeah, a couple miles apart, I guess. So I'm on a 2-story level again. Well, this time it's 2-story, and I'm sitting at dinner, and it's with my grandmother, my grandfather, and my brother. That's it, at the family. And something with, I don't know, some kind of black riots going on at that time, and it It was very subtle. It was very subtle to where my grandfather said, see, he hated my grandfather. I didn't know he hated him. Well, he had a dislike Italians. So he had a real high. He did not like, and I didn't know that. I mean, I'm half Italian. My dad's full Italian. Maybe he didn't like my father, and I think that could have been it too, because my father said some things about my grandfather coming in the house, and he called him King Farouk, whatever that means, King Farouk. He went over and sat in my dad's chair. Maybe I know there was some disagreements there, but whatever. So you have that within your family too, right? Now my grandfather's at the table saying, well, these riots or whatever with the black kids or people going in. Well, actually, it wasn't in Raritan. It was more in Somerville, a little ways down the road. And my grandfather had said, because it was brought up at the table, and I don't remember the whole discussion, but I do remember this part. Okay, Falcon, my great-great-grandmother was Italian. See? Now, was she Italian, and was she prejudiced against Moors? Falcon, do you know? Any of your people in Italian? You're obviously some part Italian. Now, were they prejudiced against Moors who are black? Or anyone with dark skin? That's my question. That's what I'm asking everybody out now. You look into your soul, man. One side of the family or another. Are they been prejudiced? Have you heard prejudice? When was it you were prejudiced or heard prejudice in your family? That's what I'm saying. That's the first time I ever heard it. First time and only time I ever heard it in my family from my grandfather. He was my fishing buddy. He brought me fishing when I was four years of experience. Until I was like 18 or 19, we went out fishing. You know, I mean, this guy was he was my fishing buddy. Okay, I doubt it. I heard she was very intelligent and lovely. Well, that's fantastic, because that's what it takes. Fantastic people that are lovely, that don't have prejudice. So my grandfather said these words. Only once in my life that I heard it, on my mom's side. So he was English, French, and Norwegian. So the Norwegians took over, if you remember, Palermo finally in the 11th century. So he was maybe part of the Vikings. So he said that this is my grandfather on my mom's side, says, yeah, that's what's great about the Italians. They keep the blacks out. I thought, in my mind, I thought, that's the only good thing about Italians. See, there was prejudice back in the 60s for Italians too, by the way, as well as blacks and Irish. Everybody had a prejudice towards somebody on some level, which is very negative if you do that. All right. Hey, Falcon, we all bleed red. That's right, we bleed red, and even the blue bloods bleed red. Actually, if you look at your veins, they look like they're blue, but not until you until the blood hits the air, it turns red. I don't know. It's kind of the way I think it works. Oxygen. So we might be all blue bloods, but our blood, when it hits the air, goes red. That's what I heard scientifically. Prove me wrong. So my grandfather says that's what's so great about the Italians in Raritan, New Jersey. It keeps the blacks out. So I had two prejudices going on. I'm Italian, half Italian. And the blacks, he wasn't happy with either. So he was kind of prejudiced on two levels. My grandfather, I don't know, I guess it was just one level, unless he had some other people that he didn't tell me about. So that's what happens, kids. We get all this prejudice at a certain level of our understanding of life. And it's whether or not you're going to accept this prejudice. It's very blatant, and it's very, very quiet, subtle. So very subtle. And that was about as subtle as it gets. And that's what the Italians are great for. They keep the blacks out. Well, that wasn't very positive for me to hear that. Let alone, I'm thinking, even at that time, I guess I did think, I thought, hey, Gramps is prejudiced. And I never heard, that was the only time in my life that I heard him say something like that. I guess there was some uprisings going on, which makes sense because, as I said before, I was in my first year of high school in Somerville, New Jersey, when the kids, the black kids, students, took over the school. Not the school, it was the principal's office, cafeteria, and the library with bats and chains. Now they did that, and I did an episode on that, and I told you how I got through. I thought a few hundred, but as I think about it now, it was probably 1,000 more black students waiting for me outside after detention. I had detention, and how I dealt with that. You can check it out someday. Just go back to whatever. It was one of my lives. Okay. Um, Generalizing is stupid. There are no good and bad in every race and culture. Hey, this is very wise stuff, Falcon. There, there are negative and positive in every generation. And definitely that's why you can't generalize any culture. I don't care who you are. It just seems to be the way. It's our upbringing to what we understand to be true. And those people that have prejudice, you can't hold anything against them. You can't blame them for anything. You can't judge them. It's just that they have more things to learn. When you understand that, then there's more of a leeway rather than putting more hardship on these people that have more things to learn. That's all. Hey, Randalls. Hey, Uncle Martin. Hey, Randalls. So anybody so far haven't given me a thumbs up or down, please do. Yeah, someday you can join the club. Join the club. The club would be subscribing to Uncle Martin. If you don't, that's fine. If you do and have a channel, I'll subscribe to you. And if you don't feel positive about it, yeah, maybe just watch a couple more of my episodes, and then maybe it will. I'm pretty much open on a lot of things. I have a lot of different topics on different levels. So I try to work with everybody because everybody's at a different level. We are in a schoolroom of life on this planet, and not everybody's in the same grade. And that's why you can't blame anybody for being more ignorant, because they just have more things to learn. That's all. Judge and you shall not be judged. It's so simple. But many people forget about those little lines, don't they? The more you know, the less you will judge. I love that one. Yeah, I'm not bragging. You're family, man. Falcon, what are you saying? Yeah, I'm not bragging. You're family, man. I understand. Yeah, I'm a family man, but I'm a great uncle. And I'm pacing myself on getting married. I've almost been married 4 times. Yeah, something just didn't happen. So, I can go into that at another time. But I am pacing myself. I'm open for it. I'm open. It's not necessary, but I'm feeling maybe someday. It's true. It's true. It could happen. But we'll see. So that's what I'm saying on prejudice. We all have to look within our hearts. Did we accept what was told to us or not? As I said before, when I was first grade, sister made me say Martin, and I didn't know anything about things black or white or red or brown or yellow. Black, white, yellow, brown, or red. I gotta keep going over that by mind. I'm not gonna say blue or green. That's when they say blue or green. I'm not prejudiced, and they bring up blue or green. These people are prejudiced. I've gone over that before. It's subconscious. It's from the old records that we knew blue and green people. That's when it was. There was Dargon back in Atlantean times, and then there was people from Pleiades that were here that were blue. But that would be another topic because nobody would understand that. It's esoteric law, but also within literature of the, back in India, they have this written. And there's some stuff on the papyrus stuff. But I can't go there right now, all right? Hey, Shiva. Yeah, that's right. Shiva was either black or blue. And Shiva, see, there's Brahma, Vishnu, or Shiva. I'm partial to Shiva. Now, Shiva has a bunch of skulls around him, and there's all this stuff with Shiva. But if you look into Shiva and what he's about, Shiva is a destroyer, yes, because things have to be destroyed to be rebuilt. But Shiva was a demon killer. Shiva killed the demons within people. He took the lesser self of people and he made you more aware of the higher than the lower. So Shiva is, I've always been partial to Shiva. Everybody's been afraid of Shiva. Why would they be afraid of Shiva? Do they have some demons they have to get rid of? Yeah, maybe. And yes, Falcon, and the ego. The ego is very true, Falcon. You're very wise. The ego is the last to go. The ego. The ego is, well, I was told by these people at the Indian Spiritual Hot Springs, by, well, he was an individual that told half-truths. He says, yeah, you need your ego so you don't put your face in the fire. Well, yeah, it might be, it might not be. But as we know, the kahunas and out of the firewalkers that even went up to India, firewalkers are all over the planet to this day. The firewalkers can just walk on fire and they can put their face in fire. And these apparently don't have much ego, do they? So the ego is the last to go. Also, maybe smoking and drinking might be the lower two, too. Drinking and smoking might be the other. And ego. All three of those. A lot of drinking. Actually, it's the five deadly poisons. Yeah, I'll go into 5 deadly poisons someday. Probably around Halloween. I'll have something on Halloween. I can't wait. It's going to be probably longer than an hour, but it'll be about a black magician that did a lot of killing, a lot of stuff that he did, but yet in one lifetime, he changed his whole thing around to where he became a saint. And his name is Mila, well, you can say Milarepa or Milarepa. You could look it up. He has thousands of caves that he went through in India, and I've done a lot of research on this guy. He's able to fly. He did a lot of fasting. I can't wait to get into that. I did something like that on my older stuff about two years ago. If you want to do a little forehead, I'm going to do more on it, but if you want to look back on, oh gosh, what was that? Yeah, under the Black Magician. Just scroll down all the stuff I got. I got like over, I guess 700 now videos. Go over to the older stuff, and I don't know what episode it is. Maybe in the 40s, maybe 44 maybe. Episode 4. I'm only guessing. Dyslexia keeps kicking in. Numbers like clueless. To this day, I can kind of remember. So Black Magician, check that out. Get a little foundation on what I'm going to talk about. But I got more. I got more of this Halloween. Okay, so we're going on 49 minutes. Okay, so everybody that's been hanging out, God bless you. I don't know about tomorrow. No, tomorrow's not a positive day. I got to work late. And Saturday, could be Saturday, or Sunday I'll do another live. But if you missed on anything, anybody's watching now, just check out the Black Magician one. That's pretty cool. I go into 5 deadly poisons that man has to overcome, and what this gentleman, this guy did that was supernatural. Yeah, that's right. People are supernatural here on this planet. They really don't come out and say they are, but once they do make themselves public, everybody would say they got to be gods. No, they're just doing what we can all do. Even Jesus said, "Ye can do as I," and even more. Jesus said this. You can do even more once you go to the Father. And Jesus always said, I and my Father are one. So, how many of us have a relationship with our subconscious, our conscious awareness, and our higher self, our Father above us? How many of us have this relationship, attunement? How many? Not many, because we're all caught up in other things. So that's what I'm saying. Ye can do as I and even more. Now, I brought this up with the nuns and priests, and they just kept saying, shut up, kid. Especially when I went into the ascension. See, everybody goes hog wild in the resurrection on Easter. But then I said, well, what about 40, Father? What about 40 days later when Jesus ascended? He says, yeah, well, blah, blah. And then, I mean, he didn't, he agreed, but he just went right over my head with it. And that's what I'm saying. Jesus said, ye can do as I and even more when you are one with the Father. So we can all ascend. Now, not necessarily physically, but if we get rid of a lot of our karma and start doing really good works, we just may be able to ascend. And that is the law of esoterics, that we stop doing negative things, we start doing positive things, and we never leave anyone unhappy. And I will thank you to say this. God bless you for watching so far. Share this with someone that you might think needs it. Definitely, if you go over my other stuff, there's some other stuff, the cures, on cures. Please, just look up cures, because I just drove somebody to the airport, and she has a husband that has Alzheimer's. And I told her about the Dr. Reif machine. And I go into that in the cures, because that machine was taken off the market because it cured Alzheimer's, it cured tumors and cancer, shattered it like glass. This is important stuff, and I don't know if she's going to look it up. I hope she does. Janet, I hope you look it up. So anybody out there that has people with that level of misfortune at this time, it possibly could help them. Look up cures. And then the other thing I want you to look up, because I asked Janet, I said, you heard about the radioactive recall of shrimp? She says, no, I didn't. I read a lot. You read a lot and you never heard about the radioactive recall of shrimp? She says, no. I said, oh my God. So that's the other one I want you to look up, recall of radioactive shrimp, if you haven't watched it so far. It's from Indonesia. They sell 6 to 7% over the whole planet, all the shrimp that are coming out of Fukushima, radiated shrimp, that our store sold, all of Walmart sold. Our store doesn't sell it anymore, supposedly. But when people come through my line and they're buying shrimp, I can't say anything. It tears me up, because I guess it's against the law. In my where I work, I can't tell them not to buy something. I tell them to buy something. Oh man! But I do give them my card, and I say, "Hey, look up radioactive." No, I don't even do that. I let those people go. But so there's the radioactive recall of shrimp. Check that out, and anything else that comes your way, because these are two very important poignant points. We all have to be cured on some level. Now, not everybody will be cured, because some people don't want to be cured. As crazy as it sounds, I'll go into that someday. But when it comes down to radiated shrimp, did you not know that America takes in 23% of Indonesia shrimp? Yeah, 23%. That's a lot of percentage of white-legged shrimp. It comes from Indonesia that we're buying, that is still being sold on our market. Please look up recall of radiated shrimp if you can. Definitely send it to a friend, because I go into Fukushima and stuff like that. Why the Pacific is so radiated. But then I bring up the positive side of the thyroid. I got the thyroid pretty much next, and how you can prepare your thyroid against radiation. So there's always, I try to always uplift people on, there's There might be a ailment, but there could be a cure. You know what I mean? Hey, Falcon, I'm vegetarian. You know what, Falcon, I'm about ready to do that myself because of all the. I've gone over that too. Genetic engineering, the bioreactors we have, the cloned animals that we're eating since 2008, and the bioactive food that's taking a ligament and a stem cell and making any kind of meat you can think of. And it's getting really depressing to me because I'm in a supermarket and I'm looking through all the meats. It just doesn't look the same. In fact, when I touch it, it doesn't even feel the same. I mean, on some level, when it gets down to like, I don't know, 69 cents a pound and stuff, I start grilling it and I give it to my cats and my dogs. But I don't eat it. I know, but it's still healthier for me to do that than feed them the dog and cat food that's poisoning them from China, which I can't go into right now. They're slowly poisoning us, that's all. And there's some people who don't want us on the planet. But that would be another topic. It's too touchy. Maybe I'll go into it, I don't know. So until I see you again, hopefully by it'll be Saturday. There's Thursday. Thursday the 16th. Happy Boss Day. Any bosses out there? Happy Boss Day. Did you know it's Boss Day? Tell your boss hi from Uncle Martin. So until I see you again on Saturday, I'll try to do it, I don't know, about 4-ish maybe, because the sun's going down so much now. I gotta up it a little. Instead of 5, I can go to 4. And a lot of you people out there 10 hours away, like Egypt and, I don't know, all you guys. There's a bunch of you out there about, I don't know. What do I got here? Yeah, you got India. India's 10 hours away. Turkey's 10 hours away. Algiers, 8 hours away. Mexico, yeah, you're only an hour away. Iraq, you're 10 hours away. Switzerland, you're 9. Netherlands, you're 9. Spain, you're 9. Italy, you're 9. Iran, you're 10. And a lot of you guys, hey, all you guys, you've been giving me messages. So I'm going to try to up it up a little so you're not up at 3 in the morning. You can be up at like 2. Okay, until then, be well, God victory, and stay safe.